items on the agenda today, nothing that's just catastrophic or anything. But just little business issues that we'd like to attend to. I'm showing, 10 on my list of agenda items. And Kelly, I'll get you to help me just a little bit as far as keeping my numbers straight. One of the very first things, did we even send it, did the agenda go out?
No, I didn't see it.
Doesn't matter.
I'll go get copies of it.
Oh, no, it's fine. We'll go through it, Cindy, before you get back, hopefully. Judge Ritchie, one of our circuit judges, has asked that we appropriate some money, for the, adult drug court, the adult drug court fund. Stephanie Wolford, who is one of the officers of the court, would like to do some training. And the judge has okayed that and requesting that we, appropriate approximately $2,000 for hotels, meals, etc. for Ms. Wolford, regarding the adult drug court. Is there, Kelly, anything more than that? I mean, just.
No, he just said that she was doing a great job and that she was showing interest in attending this, and there was money in the fund, it's just not appropriated, and he would like us.
That's the adult drug court fund, fund number 3028. He said $1,800 to $2,000, so I'd make it 2,000 even. Just to make sure we had everything covered. Any discussion, Judge?
Yep.
Guys, JP's? Adult drug court does a lot of good. I mean, it's very functional in the system once they got that thing up and running. Do I have a motion to make that appropriation?
I'll make the motion.
You make, would somebody second that?
Second.
Got a motion and a second that we appropriate $2,000 out of the adult drug court fund number 3028 for the purpose of, training involving also hotels, meals, etc. for Mrs. Stephanie Walker. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Jacob's not here today, but I was gonna ask, has anybody heard anything about the cash in lieu of benefits program that he's been working on? Has he said
I know
anything?
he's working on it, I've sent him things, and he's been working with AAC, but I don't know where he's on.
Yeah, I asked him about it at one of the meetings this month, and he said he would have it done.
But we don't have anything as yet to put on the agenda or anything else. So, you know what this is it's the employees, that are on Medicare. And when we found out we couldn't do it the way we were doing it, we set up a cash in lieu of benefits, so we're trying to program. Of the moment, we've got enough money appropriated that we would cover March, and we've also got enough for April, don't we?
We did.
So without knowing for sure, do we need to do an appropriation for money, or we need to go ahead and appropriate more money?
Yeah, because it needs to be on their first check in May.
Do we need to go ahead and cover June also?
I would say.
Just go ahead and do too much while we're doing it as a. We've been
We
waiting
can
on it
always
for
add
months.
it.
Uh-huh.
We can always add it to the May meeting if we.
Just
you
do
know, for
one month.
June, right. It's a little less than $4,000, it's like $32.50. And I looked it up, and it's like about $680 a month in taxes.
$32.50
Mhm.
for 1 month.
Madam Judge, do you know the Halter, Judge, can see what the Halter is?
I will. I do know he's working on it. He had to find the right, I guess, area that had the expertise on it. And I do know he's been speaking with them, and, that's been a month ago. But
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been at that, I mean, I talked to the Association of Counties, I know it was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a reason we shouldn't do it, I mean, we just need an update or something, I mean, if we.
No, I agree. And maybe we can, approach him at our full court meeting Tuesday night and ask for an update.
Okay.
What do you think,
I
Judge?
think that'd be good, and I'll see if I can find something out.
I'd like to give him a heads up. I don't know if it'd be appropriate to do that, but just ask him that we'd like to have an update at our Tuesday night meeting where we're at.
All right, I'll get in touch with him and I'll request that.
It's not fair to cold fishing,
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah, that's right.
so. Okay, so what we need then is an appropriation for $3,932.50 to cover the employee benefits that were involved in the Medicare issue that we had. And that will only cover the month of May.
Is that an amendment to the other one?
No, it's just another appropriation. It'd be an appropriation ordinance, an additional appropriation.
So move. I move that we appropriate that.
Appropriate that amount of money.
I'll second.
Okay, so we got a motion and second, and, it's just another appropriation because the original appropriation is running out, it has run out. That account's now zero, so we just gotta move more money into it. So it's not really an amendment, it's just a new appropriation. So, motion second that we appropriate $3,932.50 into the employee benefit program. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Now, this is where you get to shine.
Oh. Well,
Well,
let
an
me
issue
get
that
my
I'd
line
like
out.
to, just something I'd like to air out and discuss and take care of if we need to. You and some of the others have mentioned, the possibility of defunding the line item in the sheriff's budget involving the cars.
Yeah.
All right, so,
The cars.
and bringing us up today, what we've done is, we're taking some of the money out of the, ARP money, basically, it's revenue replacement funds now. And where we had appropriated enough funds for new cars, for 6 new sheriff cars, plus an additional 2 new cars that were gonna be paid for by insurance, which will be giving 8 cars total new. And we appropriated those funds, but then we decided we'd use some of the revenue replacement funds and bump him up more up to date with an additional 10 cars for a total of 18 cars that were coming out of the revenue replacement funds. But we had appropriated approximately $180,000 in the sheriff's department budget to buy the original cars. So there's been some discussion, do we want to defund that, amend the budget and zero that out?
I hate to say defund, that sounds.
Well, that's basically what you're doing, but you're just moving it. We've moved it
Yes.
out of the regular sheriff's budget and now over into the ARP.
So, yes, I think we should do that, and here is the reason why. Number one is because we used all of the we used that money out of the ARP money, which everyone is in agreement that we can use the ARP money for cars. However, just in some discussion with Peggy and the consulting, both, we did some interviews
Ms.
to.
Leslie. You
Well,
talking consultant?
well, Leslie, yes, but we also did a couple of interviews with some consultants as
Oh,
well, to help us make sure that we report the ARP money correctly and use it correctly. And let's see, on the state lobbyist, we have gotten 2 maybes and 1 no. Is that where we were? On that, we really have not been able to get maybe 1 yes. Did we get 1 yes, 2 maybes, and 1 no, something like that?
Well, it ended up being thin ice.
It was very
regardless.
thin, yes. So, but they were all in agreement that we could just use county general funds to do that. So so that money we were gonna use ARP money, but,
That's actually my next item on this.
yes, so that's why I'm covering both of them. So yeah, so I feel like since we used all the money on the cars, we should put that 180 back in and potentially use it for the state lobby.
Okay. Everybody understand that?
We're taking the 180 and putting it back into the ARP, or are we?
No, just back into county
That's
general.
Back,
Right,
back
and
in
we'll
county general.
Yeah,
We're
we use
just
county
gonna
general money to pay for the.
Zero that line item out in the sheriff's budget.
I just wanted to clarify, because I thought the way you had said it at first was putting from the.
No, we're just to zero it out of the sheriff's line item. it'll decrease his budget just a little bit.
And I think because everybody's been in agreement that, I guess there's a couple of, it is thin. Nobody really knows for sure, it's gonna take some research, it's gonna do this and that. And I feel like that if we can just solve it very simply by using county general funds and
Thin ice isn't good when
no,
you're in public
nobody
responsibility.
wants to be on the, no, nobody.
No, we-
Especially, we're gonna, I mean, it's not like we're gonna be trying,
no.
looking desperate to find places to use that money.
No, and that's the other thing, and we don't want to pay anybody hours of work to look it up and see if it's doable. I mean, we can just put the 180 back in and nothing's changed, or just kinda,
Are we talking about the state lobbyist firm and the federal?
just the
Just the
state,
state,
just
Well,
the
that
state.
goes both of them.
Yeah, we
Okay,
wanna
we
never
already
take
took the federal
Yeah.
out of, okay.
No,
Well, Lindsay was the main one that spoke up and
Yeah.
said that she was definitely having some second thoughts about whether or not we could use it for state.
She said yes at first,
She
but
did
then
say
the
yes.
longer she
Okay.
thought about it,
Yes.
the more unsure she became, and we don't like unsure.
Right.
And so in these two interviews, that question was asked of both of the two different firms.
candidates.
Yes, and,
But coming from Lindsay, that's enough right there
yeah,
for me. to
you know,
say.
so we got a one definite no
Gotcha.
very quickly, and then we got a, maybe, on the other one. So, I'm with Peggy, we're just going with a no.
So who goes to jail if we misspend the
I
funds?
don't know.
Is it the judge or is it Peggy?
Oh, I
I think it's Peggy.
I'm taking Tom and the judge.
Yeah, just, so, anyway.
They say the
yeah.
federal
And me.
things are a lot better.
They're nice to them.
White collar would do that.
So, anyway,
Yeah,
so we can get into the portal.
here and go too.
Oh, yeah, and being on the portal, yeah.
So can I have that in the form of a motion? That we
Oh,
defund that line item in the sheriff's budget and move the $180,000 back over to county general?
yeah, decrease, yes, I like decrease.
Or
that-
zero the line item?
Zero the line item, because we use the revenue replacement funds.
Exactly.
So we still replaced the cars, but we just did it
Oh,
from a
we
different,
doubled the cars.
yeah, we've done a lot with the cars. But we just did it
We're
from a
not
different
hurting his
line item.
feelings.
Yeah, but that's right, yeah, I don't want anybody to think we're, being mean to the sheriff.
So we've got a motion on the floor to zero out the car line item in the sheriff's department budget of approximately $180,000 and move that money back into county general.
I think that would be that. You had them both together.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second that we zero out the line item in the sheriff's department budget for cars since they've been, moved over into the revenue replacement fund. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then we'll move that. That'll be, I guess, an amending ordinance. Yeah,
Maybe amending the budget.
yeah, we'll be amending the budget, so that'll be an appropriation ordinance amending the budget. Which brings up the very next one, the ordinance for the state lobbying firm. We actually had appropriated that out of the revenue replacement fund. Now we want to amend that ordinance.
Yes, and we definitely wanna do that this month,
Yes.
even though I don't think we've spent any of that money,
Have we paid them anything yet?
no.
The federal lobbyist.
Yeah, but the
not.
firm down in Little Rock.
Actually, they had not, sent me the sign.
Oh, you hadn't got a contract yet?
I signed it, but they might just have let that drop, cause I do know they're working on it. They've been here and we've been to several communities and, actually we've got some emails back. They have requested it.
But we wanna make sure that that's done before this month, so that when Peggy does her first reporting, that it's not in there.
Was that 10,000 a month, Judge, $120,000?
Federal, yeah.
It was 75,
7,500?
no, 75,000 is what was appropriated.
75,000, okay. So do you have the ordinance on that, the number?
Oh, the state.
Okay, yeah, the state, that was
Yeah.
75,000 for the state.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much, but,
So what we're wanting to do is amend that ordinance where we funded it out of revenue replacement and move it out of revenue replacement and over into county general for the state lobbying firm.
Yeah.
Everybody understand? We're still hiring them, we're just not paying them out of revenue replacement. They'll be coming out of county general.
I move that we make that
That change, that amendment,
amendment, whatever.
got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second that we move the $75,000 that we appropriated out of the revenue replacement fund back over and appropriated out of county general. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Cool. All right. Still along the same line. ARPA consultant. And you did mention, and y'all have interviewed two. Have we come to a consensus between everybody about who we're doing or
Well,
anything?
I think we left that to Peggy, since she will be the one who is working, yeah.
Going to jail. She'll be the one going to jail.
Yeah, she's the one going to jail. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering and where I'm coming at from, finance and agenda is, do we need to appropriate some money, or are we to that point yet?
We all come to consensus to
Allow her to work with one?
the one she wanted, which is our parametrics. They sent us a contract. We looked over the contract. There were some concerns that we wanted changed. We pitched to them, told them what we would like changed. They were on board with all those. I just received those back since I've been in this building. So it looks like we'll be signing that thing, I'm assuming, unless we find something new in the next day or so. Your reporting's on the 30th.
Right.
So
30th of April?
Yes. But I really would rather the contract be signed before.
Yeah.
They said we could go ahead, I could go ahead and use the guy that was gonna help a lot with the reporting, but after meeting with him the other day, I don't think it's gonna, according to him, of course, we haven't expended that much money yet. So I don't think it will be.
Easily trackable so far.
Yes, so far. So I don't think it will be hard once we get the contract signed, for him to help with that part of it, no more than we haven't expended so far.
Okay, so this question I have then from finance standpoint is, your report's due the 30th. Are you gonna use their services for that report?
Yes.
Will they expect payment for those services before we have another month of appropriations available?
one more thing to add too is it's an hourly rate that we do not know exactly how many hours it'll take, so it's not a flat rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as you're making your decisions.
Well,
I think we would still have time.
is there
Can you hear us,
anything in
Judge?
the,
Yeah, and I'll be able to sign it today.
is there anything in the contract that, mentions when they would,
Expect payment?
yeah,
I think we have 30 days.
Let me look at it real quick.
Well, you just understand it's gonna be another month before we get back and make money available. So if we need to make some available now, we don't have to do it all right this minute, but you might want
Just
to,
appropriate.
some, I mean, if we're gonna have to pay them. Or need to pay them.
it varies, each,
Question was, what's the hourly rate?
Depends on who you use, what the
Right,
rate is.
probably the level of research that's,
Right.
like, so the,
extra level of expertise for the research, whatever that's called.
yes,
So-
and they have a lot of services.
They do.
So this says that we are responsible to pay within 30 days of receipt of their invoice.
And so it,
So we should be fine then, we haven't even received.
So it's up to you.
I mean, I don't
We don't
think
have to
it's hard
appropriate
make
anything,
it
I'm just trying not to miss a
No
meeting.
hard to make appropriate.
no, but we don't, I mean.
You wanna wait?
No, I don't think there's any harm in appropriating some.
So what's an the
What's
question was, what's an hourly rate? But then
Right.
we got a pastor, answer for that of Well, it varies.
Yeah.
Well, it varies from one. Does it vary from $10 to $15 an
Yeah.
hour?
Yeah, that's,
So-
yes,
Or does,
yes.
is it, $100 an hour or $200 an hour?
Pretty much.
So the most expensive expert is $200 an hour.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what you were asking.
So even if we get 10,000, which seems like a lot, I mean, if that would carry us through a little bit of research and.
I think that'd be fine.
Do 10,000? Judge, what, we're just trying to cover some of it, just to get a start.
It's more than
If
enough.
they ask for
but
money before we're ready.
They were,
I think that would be more than enough.
I definitely think so. They were, is this the firm that was
Are they
also
asking
gonna
for
kind of
retention?
check on the COVID money this time? I think that's worth looking into.
And this is ARP eligible also.
Oh, yes.
This money is revenue replacement eligible?
A consultant is, yes.
Yes, we can actually take this money out of the ARP money.
Oh, let's do 20.
I mean, I will.
I'm teasing.
No, I will let you know though that, and I'm not sure exactly how this how this is set up with the contract, the duration of the contract. Was it the other agency that had set up the contract through like the end of 2024 or something?
So this one is, I think it's, again, I had to go back and read it, but I think it's through 2025.
Okay.
But one of the things that we wanted in the edit was the ability to, with or without cause, terminate an agreement if we didn't. So that's the term, but there is the ability to end it 30-day notice.
Okay, great. That's good. That's really good.
So it's coming from revenue
Right.
replacement.
And over the course, now one did kind of give a guesstimate, and this is just kind of the way that when I kind of totaled it up, it looked like we could spend somewhere through the life of this, through the life of the contract with all the, with some additional research here and there, looked like we would end up spending close to between $200,000 and $300,000 of money. Max, yes.
And for research?
I'm just telling you. Just giving you. She felt like yes, over we felt like that was a very generous guesstimate, but that was the guesstimate that we got.
We're not committing that much.
Oh
but
no,
it
no,
could-
no, no.
If we get complicated in our requests, then it can possibly rise to that. So, back to the point.
So the two, yes,
Would
I'll
you
make a
like to
motion.
make a motion to
Yes.
appropriate?
So, can I ask,
Absolutely.
so when we have this contract and they're telling us they're advising us to spend it a certain way, and let's say that later on things change or something, so whose responsibility is that gonna fall under? Is it yours or would it be theirs because they advised us? I mean, how would that fall under? Because as we're coming, things are changing.
You're asking, do they give us any protection?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I think that's why you do reporting every so often, because they did say that things could potentially change and probably will change, but they kind of grandfather the old stuff with the new stuff to make it all work.
Another change in the contract, we made sure that they have liability and error on omission policy.
There you go.
So that was another thing that the judge.
And their
that's
bond.
one-
And they're bonded.
Right.
That's pretty much exactly what you were asking.
We're helping you not go to jail.
Just good tries.
And we did get Jake to look over the contract too, if anybody's wondering, we did have him look over it.
Mhm.
He had a couple of questions.
They seemed very knowledgeable.
They did. I mean, and I think we can use them as much or as little as we need them or want them to.
Have we set a line item up in the budget for this year? So to be set up then? Are we gonna use a new line item, or how are we gonna do it?
We would probably just use the one for the state lobbyist, the one that we created for that, which was just, other county professional services.
Okay.
That's in,
I'm just trying to think how we wanna, word this appropriation. So 10,000 into the other county, services line item in the budget for the use of the ARPA consulting firm
out of that,
out of revenue replacement fund.
So, if I understand it correctly, basically the way it's gonna work, if we initiate a project, let's say the health units, whatever, and we wanna move forward with that, then it goes to these people to analyze and say yes or no,
Only if we request them to.
only for.
It's piecemeal.
Okay.
Right, so they have done, like for some counties, they've actually written the RFQ. Is that right? Was that right?
For some they have.
So for some I mean, when I said that, they have, I mean, their services, I mean, they really do vary quite a bit. Peggy had mentioned that we'd use part of the money for, vaccine incentives. And one of the gentlemen said that they could look and make sure that we received as much money or all the money
So
we
the money
could.
left on the table, that's what he said.
Yeah.
There's some FEMA, I think it was.
FEMA, so, I mean, there's quite a bit of stuff. And went almost to the point where we worried a little bit that they might just start kind of just running away with it. So we're gonna try, Peggy, we're gonna try to make sure that we use them as needed, use them on what we really need them on,
Right.
and
Right,
Yeah.
so if we know that it's gonna qualify, there's no sense in using their services, cause that's just a waste of money. Or we're just talking about the things that are in question about, or some things we know we can use the money for, but we need their assistance in the reporting side of it.
yes, they will always do the reporting side of it. They're always gonna help with that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was what I think, that was really what the big part of it was.
But if you do have, I mean, if you do try to do something with the money and they know it's not right, they're gonna,
Tell us.
yes,
I got you.
right?
I felt like that.
So we've got go ahead, excuse me.
Well, then, to back up, what he was saying is that, so like, as the example, if he's using the health units then, so if we don't ask them prior, and we do it, and then when we're reporting and they say,
Then
you
it
can
falls
do
back on
that,
us.
then it falls back on us, right?
It does,
Well-
and so if we've got found where we spent money that wasn't
Yeah.
appropriate, we've gotta pay it back.
Right.
There's no other penalties particularly unless it was with criminal intent. But if we spent $250,000 on the health unit, then we'd have to put that back out of, we'd take it out of county general and put it back in the revenue replacement fund if we were found to be in error.
I mean, we haven't really gotten
I'm
that
just trying to see how much we're
into
gonna
it
use
yet,
them
as far
for their
as
protection,
how
yeah.
much they're gonna help on that part of it. You know, like you said, I mean, if we don't ask them and we spend something wrong with the health department, then, yeah, we're gonna have to pay it back, so.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't gotten into it that deep yet.
There are some things that are concrete, firm, yes, we can do, and then there's some that's just sketchy.
Yeah,
We don't know for sure. We think,
right.
but not positive, and so it's the we thinks that we wanna really run, put them in bounds.
They did say that they would make sure, some of the federal, some of the things that you can do on the federal level, the state is more restrictive, and vice versa, and they felt like they would also be able to work with us on that, to make sure that we weren't getting into any kind of gray area. Because we're all in agreement, we don't wanna be in the gray area.
No.
So,
And Peggy and Molly would still have that 2,500 page book that could always.
well, that's right. And here's the other thing, when Lindsay, I guess Lindsay, right, she said, she made the statement in one of those meetings, basically anything you use county general on, since we're doing revenue replacement. But that's really not turning out to be the case.
No, it's not. She told me when I asked her point blank, was that true? And she said no.
No, that's
No, it's
really not. So either maybe I misunderstood, or maybe she's realized that is not necessarily the case now. But it is more complicated than. than just, oh, let's spend the money. So,
Even on the pretty well concrete things, if we wanna ask them, that's gonna be on the lower end of that
Right,
consultant
that's what I
fee.
was gonna say, should be on the lower.
Yeah, it won't cost us much even then, so.
no, we try, like I said, I feel like that is it was a very generous amount of hours. Like, I don't really, I mean,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine
I
how
would
we
think
would get
whenever
there.
you have your projects, that you would let them look it over.
Yeah. For like procurement and
Yeah,
ethics and stuff like
yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, but then I would think there would be months that they wouldn't do any, you know.
Yeah.
And then and the great thing about this one with Ben, he even created he's created several little handouts, I guess is what he was calling them, or Excel
Well, on the
spreadsheets.
recording side, he said what is a 125 page document now is he created a 6-page document for
Oh,
them.
wow.
You know, so and he is okay with being in the portal, in the county portal, and Peggy's okay. So he will actually be able to see, you know, kind of in real time what we're doing, whereas the other.
It's all a learning process.
It is.
Yeah, we're evolving.
But they did seem very knowledgeable and professional.
And I think it's great the way y'all are all working together between you and Peggy and Tom, and the committee is, very cooperative effort, keeping us out of trouble.
Yes, I'm very thankful because as I think that I'm like, let's go. Like, yeah, let's do this. And so I'm trying to slow down just a little bit, but yes, I think this will be great. Yeah, I think this will be good. And
We'd like for them to come here
yes,
and so we can meet them face to face and let them see what they're doing.
Okay, guys, so we've got a motion on the floor that we appropriate $10,000 out of the ARP money, the Revenue Replacement Funds, for the use of a consultant, which will be run through the, county line item under professional services. Any other comments or questions? If all right, then, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? And then we'll add to this as we go along. As we figure out how we're spending the money more, then we can increase this appropriation. I'm gonna get off of this for a few minutes.
okay.
Let's get on Mr. Burge.
Did we make a motion in a second on that one? I don't.
Motion.
Oh, the motion made, did I not get a second?
I was gonna say, cause we.
I'm sorry, can I have a
think
second on that?
Yeah, a second.
Okay, we got a motion
I
and a
think we
second.
can
Now
survive
then,
it.
all in favor.
Um,
All right. Justice Burge,
Yes,
credit cards at the landfill.
just got some information, Peggy has been researching it, and, we're gonna look into that, we're working on it. She just got some information, and I've got some information, I've been out of town for a week, but anyway, we are working on that, and moving forward with it.
So it looks like we're probably gonna do it, it's just a matter of getting through the
We're
process.
probably gonna do it, it's just a matter, I think, of who we're gonna do it with, how to.
Okay, nothing needed from us or anything.
Not at this point.
Do we not take credit cards?
No, we haven't been taking credit cards out there.
We're
Cash
looking at,
only.
credit cards and debit cards and, direct deposit. Some of the industries have asked in the past about using direct deposit, so we're gonna try to provide all of it.
That'll get you paid
Yeah.
faster with the bigger corporations.
mhm.
I bet it would, I bet
Oh,
they'd
that
help
would.
on a lot of that collection issue that we've been
Yeah.
talking about.
I know the meals are preferring that now.
Michael, I think we need to go ahead and appropriate the money for the credit card machine.
You think we do need to?
Well, that's what we thought.
Do you have numbers?
Do you have paper?
The machine.
Well, hold up if you don't mind, Mindy, because I've got some more information.
Oh.
I'll be honest about it, I have a real problem with the 5-year contract. And there's some other options I think that we can probably do.
You can do it online without equipment.
I just hadn't had a chance, I just.
Okay, well, that's fine, wasn't trying to.
No,
Didn't want to put you on the spot, didn't want an update.
We're working on
Okay.
it, and we'll get our heads together.
Well, do you not have some kind of administrative budget out there anyway that you could pull something like that?
I thought, yeah, like equipment or something, cause that would fall under.
Well, we want to work it out, we want to be sure it works out where the customer using the card is the one going to pay the fees rather than the county has to pay.
Well, she said something about equipment expense. If there is anything like that, don't you have probably a line item in your budget you could take that out of?
Well, yeah, we don't have any problem about that.
You're talking about service fees, though, like the company I work for privately, we just added a 2% surcharge to any credit card payments. Because it costs us 2% for us to use the services.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
Cool, well, just keep us,
Keep them
Let's
We
help
will,
if we can.
we'll be moving forward with it in the next week or so. As far as, we just need to get our heads together, the three of us, and trying to see. We have, I think, some other options.
excellent, okay. I know everybody's been holding their breath. Here it is, April. But we do have a cleanup budget coming.
You should already have.
So Tuesday night, we expect to vote on and pass our cleanup budget for the, budget year of 2021. Any remarks, Kelly, at all? Not really, just normal,
Similar to prior year.
Judge, any thoughts on that or remarks or anything? I mean, we ended up awful clean.
Yeah.
Alright, everybody know what JESAP is? JESAP. That's the,
No, I'm just kidding.
why am I talking about that? Because we do that in even numbered years. Every other year, we go through a JESAP evaluation, and what these JESAP evaluations are is where we look at our positions and our salaries and compensation packages that we're offering to the county employees, and we have them, compared to like entities, most of which come from around our area, but they go through governmental entities, private industry entities. I think in the last JESAP deal in 2020, they used like 12 comparables, if I remember right. They'll use some other counties, they'll use some of the state positions, but all of the comparisons, and elected officials, I'm talking to y'all now primarily, there's 5 of you in here. All these comparables are based on job descriptions. So if you need to update job descriptions, in any department or with any employee, we need those updates on job descriptions before we submit to, the JESAP people. Honestly, generally, that's your best basis to request raises. And I'm not saying make up a bunch of stuff and lie about what they're doing, but give an honest job description, and not everybody will be needing an update, but you have an opportunity here. So this is the time to do it, and, as you get those, if you do those, or if you're even working on them, if you'll just let Kelly know that you've got some coming, and she won't submit anything until she receives your information.
So is there something we fill out to do that, or is it just?
There's not one, but I do have some of your job descriptions, in my office, if you wanna come look at them and see if you wanna update them.
Not everybody, in fact, may not be anybody need updated, but there may be some in your office that have changed their jobs or their workplace. Harley's talked about some of his changing, at different times. I think everybody's had a few changes made in their positions. You have an opportunity here. So, anybody that would care to, we'd like to have that information update at your convenience. Kelly, any idea when that, we're not on the deadline to submit it, but it's usually around June, isn't it?
Yes. Usually I, start talking to them about June, and then, it takes a little while to get everything sent, and them to get it back to us, so the earlier we have the job descriptions, the better.
we like to have these, we start our budget process first of September. And when we're looking at salaries and comparables, you know, there's the 4 quartiles with the midpoint in the middle. And all those evaluations are based on your job descriptions and how they compare to what the city of Jonesboro is doing, or what Crittenden County is doing, or whomever. So, the more specific you can be, the better comparable we can have, and it gives us a better look when we're setting our salaries in our budget process. Just an offer. March expenditures, I did not bring the 73-page, budget detail with me. Everything seems to be real in line. County General is holding strong. We're at just under $8 million in County General. Economic development is also truly holding strong. County Road Fund is at 2.3, in their CD fund, and $750,000 in the regular fund. Judge, y'all hauling gravel like usual, like you did last year, or is it too wet to start?
Well, just when the weather will allow us, we're not able to stockpile, regular gravel when it's raining.
Yeah, just wet. But I think, wouldn't you call last year one of the biggest gravel or road material hauling years we've ever
I
had?
think we did, I think we probably hit a high.
I thought we did too, and it showed. I mean, we've gotten through the winter without any major catastrophes.
Right.
Or fall through, and I'm hoping that you're gonna keep that kind of program going again this year.
We're gonna try to surpass it.
That'd be awful good. Justice Byrd, your fund's showing pretty strong still also.
Yes, and what's not showing is going back to part of our discussion last month, and our change on our, 30/60/90. We did get a check from one of our larger industries that was behind for about $270-something thousand. And that certainly helped. We have one more that's a little draggy, and I think we've been promised a check from them. And that pretty well will catch us up on the ones we were really concerned about. As far as operation of the landfill, it's showing, I don't remember what percent, but we did move $500,000.
I was gonna ask.
The actual percentage, operating percentage that we've used is about 19% for 3 months. So everything going pretty well. We were certainly happy to get that check.
We can smell the new smell coming out of the courthouse, but we haven't seen it yet. How we doing on budget?
I'm still, I do think what we got, one payout, but other than that, and that's budgeted. There's not anything.
We're still under budget.
Yep. There you go, short and sweet. We're still under budget. So, we are currently looking, last week we worked with, Leslie and Janice a little bit. So when we move back in, their books are on display. And those bookshelves, I don't know if you guys remember them, I've got a picture of them on my phone. They're metal and the books kind of roll in. Several of those are damaged or just plain broken. So those will need to be replaced, for sure. That's not in the budget, so I think, I don't remember the gentleman's name. Jim Pinner came up last week, and he was gonna get us some numbers together.
There's plenty of money in contingency still for that kind of stuff, right? Is there a couple $100,000 in there?
Well, yes. Yes.
Until we spend it.
Until we spend it, yes. I think though, one of the things, and Aaron Ruby, the architect, has kind of weighed in on it as well. One of the reasons he said he didn't put it into the budget is because, a lot of the bookshelf is covered up by the book, so you only see the kind of the out, just the edges of it. And they are kind of pushed together. And he felt like, the books are old, the shelves that they sit in were, we've had some of them, I think probably are original. So he didn't really think that we would replace them. he thought, I'm gonna use the word vintage, it aided the vintage look, which I agree, some of them are really pretty. But then there are some that I do think are just completely, you just can't use anymore. So, Justice Ash was there, at the last meeting, he said the new ones though, instead of having the metal rollers, they now have heavy plastic in them, so.
The ones that they're talking about they're, I don't know if the branding is easier, but the look of them is very sharp and clean because they are metal. There's some of them that are brass, there's some of them that are stainless steel. I like the looks of them a whole lot better than I like the plastic look. But that's all they say when you get it home.
Judge, I'm not seriously trying to put anybody on the spot anymore, I give up, but I know we will eventually get in there. We still looking at maybe this summer?
We will eventually get in there.
October, right? October this year?
Good answer.
Not October.
They're cleaning the building up right now, for the punch list. So, that leads me to believe that we're very, very close. One of the problems though, that's gonna result out of this delay and probably lack of communication is that in order to get the furniture put in, and I check on the furniture once a week, it's everything, nothing has changed, but, bringing that vendor back in from, Illinois, is that right, Don?
I'll look it up.
We've got to get them on notice way early in order to get them to set up, give it come all the way here, and then access the furniture and then get it on each floor. So that's gonna take a considerable amount of time. That's one of the major factors in the delay. It's gonna be, when can we actually
Reset up.
and we've got two departments that have state agency controlled computer networks, the servers, and so we're gonna have to, time it with them to get them. So the move back in is not gonna be nearly as easy as the move out.
Won't happen over a weekend.
No, and we actually moved, Friday from 4:30 to Monday at 9:00.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be able to repeat that,
But we're getting there.
but we're getting there.
One of the line items I was a little bit concerned about in our budget, Peggy, is our jail operation fund. And we're running a little bit low on there, 64,000 at the moment. We transferred a little over there already this year, haven't we? Or have we?
You can kind of general to
Yeah.
jail, a little,
How much?
I don't know that.
I mean, we're just in April. Well, we've been doing, during the course of the year, about 1.2 million.
Well, the transfers under $500,000, but 26,000 of that for 3 months is to senior citizens, so the rest is on zero.
It's almost $500,000, 450,000, give or take, already.
Well,
this year. And we're in the first quarter.
Now, okay, so, and he's not here, but I ran into the sheriff and he talked about he is going to get some state prisoners. Have you heard?
309s.
Is that, okay, I couldn't
Yeah.
remember the numbers.
He has asked for some 309s and
He asked for 24, and I think he's getting 12.
no, he'll just bring, what was the juvenile jail,
Mm-hmm.
that area does not have to have as much security for the 309s. So, I know he was gonna ask for a certain number, but they didn't have that many slots. And he was hoping that some would clear it up and he could get them. And the state legislature just bumped how much they pay for housing state prisoners. And the 309s it's not paid, they're not paid as much on that, cause you use them to work.
Right, so he said he would be able to use them as kitchen staff?
Try using his kitchen staff, they can do almost any job in the jail, they can actually even do the housekeeping, which is not having Jeremy for the front part. They can do that, whereas it's gotten to where they don't put trustees up there, 309s are to the point where they're about to get out, so they don't mess up.
There hadn't been any available.
They say how much they don't get state. Was it up to 50?
I was thinking we were only getting 39, I think they went to 45.
It's 40 something.
It wasn't a big bump, but it was more than we did.
Well, you know,
Yes.
just a few years ago it was 28.
Yes.
And it was either 41 or 45 that they're bumping us to. Which is better. It's not, it doesn't clear it. You know, I think everybody's pretty well accepted $61 or in that range as being the.
But I think, yeah, but I think this has, I mean, be better than that.
Okay, we'll take it.
Well, you get a little bit of money more, plus you get the ability to work. They can wash cars, they can clean up the jail, they keep them around there anyway.
Well, and what, they came and did the site study, or they came to do a site inspection and felt like that that it was set up perfectly.
I know the last time I talked to him, he was wanting to roll off the new building about how he.
Yeah, that's the last time I talked to him. Last thing that I've got, actually was gonna ask, aren't we due next month to get the second half payment of our American Rescue Plan funds? Sometime next month, we might. So, you know, another $3.9 million that we may be expecting to receive next month in the revenue replacement funds. Just something to kind of be looking in the post office for. Judge, you have anything today, sir?
No, I think everything's going fairly well.
I think it is too. I knew you'd have something, Miss Leslie.
Well, while
We're
ago when you
good
were talking
today.
about moving back in,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want everybody to be prepared, we're gonna have to have a company to move my office, cause
Those big old heavy files. We had to have one to move it the first time, didn't we?
me and one of my employees in work release worked for 16 days throughout the time. And what?
You just across the street.
Yeah, but we just went, took that many days to just get it all across the street. So when y'all say just moving them for just a couple of days to move back in, that's not gonna be my office. It's gonna take numerous days with numerous people to do it in the right order and keep everything organized. I feel like he's even listening to me. He's turned his head away.
We'll have a.
Did you hear what I said?
What?
See, he listened to me. She's
We'll
trying
have,
to say.
we'll have a mover to help. A professional.
Yeah, they need to be, because.
Well, the reason I missed you is Molly was saying we actually have money budgeted for that.
I was messing with you. I saw you turn your head away.
Maybe let me start your office first.
Well,
And that would depend, I guess, on
if I
the
can
furniture.
just, the main thing with mine is getting in because of court. We're way backed up on jury trials. And just as soon as we can get in to have court, since the air does not work out there at the court. Our judges are starting to, and the attorneys and the general public, the jurors, everybody, even though it hasn't gotten hot yet, the day that it was 76, we were all burning up in there.
Okay.
So yes, as soon as I do, and then we already have a double jury trial, both courtrooms are already booked for December.
We just had our first, jury civil trial last week since COVID.
The civil one actually, believe it or not, after 6 years, it broke down.
What do you mean broke down?
They settled after 6
Settled.
years. They finally settled it after waiting for 6 years. They had the civil one. Not criminal, of course, they was all the time, but civil.
So I can go back and redo.
So after all that we did, yes.
Wow.
To prepare for it.
6 years. And then there's a.
That's right.
Miss Janice, you're gonna move all of your books yourself, aren't you, ma'am?
Sure am.
They almost fit in the back of your pickup.
Almost. I got a question for you,
Yes, ma'am.
for all of you. So, when Aaron first came to me and we started talking about, he was measuring the back of my office and all the books and cabinets and all of that. It was my understanding that he was going to build in shelving and stuff for that. So, okay, I got past that, cause he notified us that that wasn't in it. But he did tell me that all the filing cabinets that I have lined up around the room, all of those files were gonna go somewhere. We were going to get rid of the filing cabinets. Well, that's not true. So I wanna know, where am I gonna put all those filing cabinets? And the stuff that's in them. Now, we have like 3 filing cabinets full of adoptions, and we have a special room for that. But I don't know where we're gonna put the rest of them.
I don't know, maybe that's a question we need to pose when the monthly meeting y'all have, the contractors meeting, Ms. Jackson.
Right, yes, okay, so I'm just,
Can I tell you what's on my wish list before you go, Molly?
sure.
I really would like, if there's room in that room where the books are gonna be displayed, I really would like some of those upright filing systems like Leslie has.
The roller file things?
The accordion thing?
No, not the accordion thing, is it? Are you talking about the ones where you pull the books out of the?
No,
she's
I'm
talking
talking
about
about where
right
you
there.
put the individual files in, and it goes
It's on
on.
the accordion.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And you're wanting to get out there in I'm gonna call it the glass area where things are gonna be, or you're gonna have your records stored out there.
Really, that's gonna be the only place we can put it. And we may need two of them.
Agnes, I'm just asking a question. Do you know about how many filing cabinets you have that you need to put? If I remember correctly, the reason I'm asking that, some of those
Well, John
filings.
Penner was there when he was there, and he counted my cabinets, and he told me how many would go into one of those.
Yes,
So when he finished, I needed 2.
that was fixing to say that. And did he mention that some of them could be put up against a wall if you wanted it to stay, which, that saves space if you needed it that way, since it wasn't put out there to begin with.
When's your next contractor builder?
Well, we don't have a scheduled one.
Weren't y'all
anymore.
doing that?
We were until we got to the point where we're not doing that anymore. So, we, okay, and this is a question, so now Janice, you met with Aaron, correct? And you guys
In the beginning.
yeah, y'all came up with a plan?
Uh-huh.
Did he
Because
send
he even told me that he was going to have me a table that was at an angle, and it would have drawers where I could put all my large maps. None of that's happening. He's just he said he just budgeted to have the new tops put on that, what we have.
Which is what they're doing, which the cabinets, putting the new tops on, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I
I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't, once you get it in there, we knew all the stuff wasn't gonna fit in there. I know this is not really a great answer, probably an answer that, but I would, I know that he also mentioned waiting to once we got moved back in to replace the tops. And it may be that we need to wait, and once you get back in, really kind of see what you need.
Here's part of the question. Are these records that you have to have access to all the time?
Yes.
Or is this something we can look at small size for?
We have to have access to those because they're mostly probate,
Now, I'm just saying, in the very beginning, we talked about, well, not the very, very beginning, but after the plans were made, that I'll still have to keep my storage unit behind my office where I am right now. There's gonna be, once I move the stuff out of there, that will go back to the courthouse, because I'm not gonna have that kind of room at the courthouse, so a lot of that stuff that's older records, gonna keep in my storage unit, and there will be room for, like, your oldest cases that you might not get into all the time, that there's gonna be plenty of room in that storage unit for us to hopefully share it, you know, if anybody needed it, and there's those shelves that are in there are fabulous to put old books on that you don't get into all that
I
time.
put all my old tax
Yes.
books in there, but all her old tax books.
That
That I,
never gonna be able to thunder.
that I'm responsible for keeping.
So we will have room.
We'll put all those in there. We'll fix up the room.
Once we move out some of ours, there's gonna be a lot of, you know.
No, and I do think, so again, there is a little bit of contingency, money left in the contingency, and then there's, money that's, been budgeted to do the move back. That's $125,000 to move back, and then there's still a couple hundred, over $200,000 of undesignated funds that have not been used, have not been designated for anything. So there's some money left.
Do you have to have original documents? You wouldn't be able to just digitize it.
Tell you what though, if, like most people want, when they call to request something, they want a copy of it, you certify it from the original, so you have to have it, we can't certify it from a copy.
And the law, the certification says this is a true copy from the original.
So we have to have those assessments.
That's one reason that storage unit that we have right now is it's in such a great place, and we've never had any trouble with leaks or anything at all with that one.
But if you had a digital copy, you couldn't use the digitized of the original and say it was from the original?
I don't think the law will allow it. It might, but it.
You know, and we haven't
specifically
taken
says-
advantage of the latest technology as much as I think we should have. The filing cabinets, and I have told, you know, my staff in our office that my desire is not to move a single filing cabinet over there, because we need to digitize, and we're doing that right now. Of course, we're a small office, we don't have that much to work with, but, and you know, we went through trying to digitize years and years ago. The things are different now. And if it's possible to utilize that, that would be a really easy answer to it.
I think the laws are slowly catching up with some of the digitized originals and some of the things I've seen.
And we could keep the originals, but, you know, if we just didn't have it under our feet all the time.
Yes, that's what I intend on doing with my old stuff.
You can still search them from within your office, but then if you had to go get the original, you could get it.
Except for what Janice and I are both running into is that the company that did all that 5 years worth of work, we've got
Cut our books apart and
sections
all
that
that
are,
stuff.
yeah, our books that have, been pretty much.
Well, if you think about it like this, if you move back in with the thought of, we're gonna start with the most current things and then work our way backwards,
That's
you know,
exactly
and then
right.
what doesn't fit, then that would be a great place to start with, you know, because in addition, not only is it not fit, you know, does it not fit, and you have to, make sure that you have it and have it however it's legal. I mean, that is still an additional expense that we're gonna continue to incur by renting space to store it. So, I mean, that's just, it's not anything that has to be addressed right at the moment, but, yeah, I mean, down the road, it'd be nice if we could get rid of the storage fee and get something that works.
One more thing. She has the same problem. I spoke with Michael, Justice White, I'm sorry, earlier about, when they were talking about several years ago when they came in and scanned all those books. Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they cut all of our books apart. And so the problem I'm running into is that they just wrapped it in brown paper. So when someone goes in there and handles the book, they have to pull those pages out. And some of those pages are old and fragile. And they're getting destroyed. We've got to do something with them before, those are original records.
And that's the thing about those books, like James was talking about, those were original bound books that were sewed together. The pages were sewn together, and a lot of them are handwritten, and so they're truly, in my opinion, what you would want restored to put on display in the room that she and I are gonna have, that are supposed to have the panels, the glass panels with books. Those are really the oldest books that you would actually want to be on display, to be honest, in my
Some of
opinion.
ours go back to 1847.
So in the restoration services available, do they not have some kind of means and methods of preserving those?
Yes.
We spoke with two companies, Jim Penner, that's with Harris and Associates, and then we also spoke to a Mike Patty, who is with CoFile, and he can come in. The only problem with that, with both of them, he can come in and he can treat these pages and cover them in like a laminate seal, a sleeve, not a seal, sleeve, that you can still pull out. But the problem with that is once he restores those books, for every one, it now becomes two. And that's with both companies.
Volume.
Yes.
But is there a better answer?
No.
So it's just a matter of space.
And a matter of having the money to do the ones that are the oldest ones that need to be done. And Rick has said,
She called me to look at part of this, and one of the things that was printed. He also said that when they do the books like that they can scan them in and then they index them so that you can search it by certain fields to find it in the books.
that was actually Kofax that said that.
CoFile.
I mean, Kofile, he's the one who said that part.
And he's the only one that can treat. Mr. Penner cannot treat the paper to
Restored and protected for however many years.
And I'll tell you, the books look good, but when they showed me that they had already done it, they'd already done it for a couple of them. They look good. But the problem is, they're supposed to be giving the price on it. That's gonna be the interesting part.
So when do you want to start on this kind of stuff? I mean, this really isn't with the courthouse issue, but a paperwork issue, or is it a courthouse issue?
No, I mean, this is not in the, I mean.
This is a whole different new
Yeah.
subject here. So what's your thoughts?
Well, first we wanna get a quote
Yeah, we have
from
to
each
get
of them.
estimates.
We haven't gotten an estimate from either. They said they were gonna work on it and get back with it, so, we'll let you know.
I have no doubt.
Did they say how long that this restoration will last? Or?
Well, Mr. Patty said that they were taking all of the books to where, do you remember?
Leave the county?
Again, yeah.
So they did also.
And Mr. Penner, same thing, his would leave the county as well. But he did say if we wanted him to take just like from 1 to 25. And if we needed something out of those books, we could call him. He in turn would scan it and send it, email it to us or whatever. We would still have access to something we needed. But he said he would split it up so that he wouldn't have all of our books at one time.
And I mean, in our defense, we weren't supposed to be left with those books like that. That company who originally did all this,
Out of Texas.
those books were supposed to come back to us in archivable, decorative boxes, whatever they called them, and of course, we never got any of that. We never got any.
We never got all of our books back.
We don't have
Not at
all
all.
the images scanned.
We're
We,
missing
of course, there's no way to know what all we missed.
So you'll come back to us then when y'all get some numbers?
Yes, sir.
So did we kick your can down the road?
You sure did, just a little bit. I thank you.
Susan, you got anything for us, dear?
Elections are good.
Bills came out, they look nice.
Thank you very much.
Made me wanna just go pay my bill.
I received the alert during the storm from the county.
Oh, did you really?
Yes. The alert, that we did.
I didn't receive one.
I got one on an iPhone. Molly's saying, just another can down the road, she received a text alert on her iPhone.
Or it was a call alert.
I got
It was a
several
call.
calls.
I did too,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did too, and both my
Right.
parking lots along at the office did.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it even made it through my automated
The
system.
tornado was
So-
close to my house, or
Yeah.
the phone call was close to
Isn't
my
that
house.
part of the,
Yeah.
The notifications,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
so Hyperreach?
Yeah, yeah, I got it on the two landlines in the store as well.
Yeah,
The county lines, both of them in the store
Hotel,
got them.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it on my cell phone, but I did get it at the office. Yeah, I know it's
So that was,
I asked this morning why did I get it and some of the rest didn't get it in my office, and he said it was because the phone cloud, they section it off of the dangerous areas. And I live at Carson Lake, so they had spotted a phone cloud at Wilson, so all that surrounding area, immediate area, would get a notification. I got you.
Wow.
That's probably why you guys got it in
Yeah, we both got it, yeah.
on Wednesday.
Mhm.
Cause it was.
But it didn't come out through my, I never did get it on my cell phone, so it's still not the geographical whatever for the cell phone part. That's not
right,
really
so
working.
Sam got it on his cell phone. I didn't get it on mine, but we did get it at the hotel. So,
And I was really surprised because it's supposed to be automated systems usually don't make it through my automated system, but it did. I caught the tail end of the recording, but it says if you've missed part of this recording, call this number for the full message or something along those lines. That's what it said.
Peggy, I've hit all the elected officials but you. You got anything else for us? Nothing we need to do. Kelly, you got anything, huh? Judge, I'm circling back to you before we close off.
No, I think everything's good.
They're all
Huh?
the same.
We're good.
Cindy? Guys, very productive meeting with 9 JPs, 5 elected officials. I appreciate all of you very much. Thank you. We'll call the meeting adjourned.